Hi you guys, welcome to the channel. This is Rob. For those of you that are new, welcome to the channel. And for those of you that are coming back, also welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a video of my top 5 Tarot de Marseille. I'm going to show my best Marseille decks because they're absolutely stunning. Oh, you guys, at number 5, we have Le Tarot de Marseille by Los Scarabeo. This is the gold edition. And I really wanted to get this deck because I love gold and I love the gold in these cards. It comes in a little tuck box like this. Tuck box is sort of flimsy. It's not a cheap deck, but it's not an expensive deck. I would have to say that it didn't have to cost so much. To be honest, I wish it would have been a little bit less expensive because I don't think that the quality is really there. And this is one of the reasons why I made it to number 5, because I think that the quality sort of lacks. But nevertheless, I think it's a really nice deck, and it comes with a little booklet like this, which many of you know, Los Scarabeo. These booklets are pretty much not very informative, and it just goes right into the major arcana, minor arcana, and goodbye. They are really nothing to brag about. They come in different languages. But more importantly, let's get into these cards. They're not gilded. The size is regular Los Scarabeo size. And the paper quality is really not the best one. That's why it's number 5. But when it comes to the pictures and how they depict the Marseille deck, I have to say that I'm pretty pleased with it. I don't really use this deck. It's part of my collection. I'm happy that it's part of my collection, but I don't really use it. I really like it because of the gold in it. This is the card of presentation that it comes with. And like I just mentioned, you guys, I'm not really into peep decks. That's why the Marseille is really not one of my to-go-to decks. But I do love the images. I love the history of these decks. And so that's why I refer to it time and time again. And the colors on this particular deck are really beautiful. They really come out. I love the fact of the gold with this really primary colors that they have on them. I think it makes a really beautiful contrast, and that's why this is number 10. So this is Le Tarot de Marseille, and this is my number 5 by Los Scarabeo, the gold edition. Beautiful, beautiful deck. Now, when it comes to paper quality, really not the best. Shuffling is pretty good with this deck, I have to say. So if you are wondering how this deck is shuffling, it shuffles pretty well. And if you want to do a fan situation, it works just like butter. So you guys, that is the number 5 Le Tarot de Marseille. Let's move on to number 4. Deck number 4, you guys. I keep it in a nice bag like this because this is a very special deck and I definitely don't want it to get ruined. So these bags come from a lady in England, and I have mentioned her before. I love her bags, and they're wonderful. So I've used this one for this particular deck, and I'm going to show you all about it. This is the Tarot des Ambiguities. It's an artisan tarot production, and this one is by Alejandro Rosand. Let's open this guy. This is really, really a nice deck. There is a couple of things that I don't like about it. That's why it is number 4, I'm sorry. But very, very beautiful. I'm going to show you all about it. It comes in a tuck box like this. The tuck box is okay. You guys, I'm really not into tuck boxes. But I'll take it. And this is one of the reasons why it goes in a bag like this, because they really get all banged up and they get really ruined really fast. So that's why I put it in a bag like this. Let me tell you what I don't like so much. One of the things that I really love about this deck is the colors that he's used. The fact that the drawings are absolutely amazing, and just he puts his own twist into this deck and he just makes it to be absolutely a wonderful deck. I don't really use this deck much, but I love having it in my collection. I'm so glad that it is in my collection. Unfortunately, one of the reasons why I made it to number 4 is because it has this linen paper that I'm not a big fan of. And as many of you know in my channel, if you've watched some of my other videos, you know that this cardstock is not one of my favorites. It's that linen. I find it very hard to work with because it slips very easily. And so also I find it to be a little bit thin And so it is kind of on the thinner side, and I'm not really into thin paper. And so this is one of the reasons why this deck made it to number 4. But when it comes to shuffling, it's a really good, you're going to know that this does an absolutely fabulous fan. So if you're into fan situations, this is one of those decks that you're going to just love. This is of course a peep because this is of course a Marseille deck with its own twist, I have to say. And so, but nevertheless, really a great deck. And I'm pulling some of the cards here for you so that you can look at them. This is and what else do we have here? This is the Magician, as you can see. And see, it slides everywhere. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like this paper stock. But other than that deck, if you're looking for a deck that is going to give you that sort of elegant feeling with that history sort of flavor to it, this is one of those decks. And by the way, this publishing house, this Artisan Tarot, and I'll link their website to the description box, they have other decks that are absolutely beautiful. The bat, I tell you that this is not an expensive deck, but it is worth it. I wanted to get some of their other decks, but I decided not to. So I went for this one because they are all sort of the same in their peep decks and stuff like that. So I'm not really into them. But nevertheless, it is just such a beautiful deck to have. I couldn't just pass it. And by the way, when it comes to presentation, they are absolutely wonderful. This is the back of the card, which resembles the back of the talk box as well. So I did really extensive research on what Marseille decks I was going to get, because it is a Marseille deck, but with a twist, and that I find it pleasing, eye-pleasing. And this is one of those decks that I just totally find eye-pleasing. I'm happy with the drawings. Okay, the paper quality is not my favorite, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm really happy that this deck is here, and I do take it out once in a while, and I will admire the artwork because it is just a piece of artwork, and I will enjoy it. So you guys, let's go to deck number 3. Deck number 3. I keep this deck also in a little pouch like this by the same woman in England. If I'm not mistaken, it is, but I will double check, but I do believe that it is by the same person. And you guys, it's a very special Le Marseille deck. I found this deck at a flea market in Europe, and I couldn't help it but taking it. Somebody had made a couple of changes to it. This is an Il Melanghello deck, and what they did is they laminated the cards, because the cards don't usually come in a plasticky sort of lamination like these ones do. And so somebody made this. They also put it in this sort of cover here, because Il Melanghello usually comes in little boxes like this. But this one didn't come like this. This one came like this, and so the cards can fall out. So that's why I used the pouch to protect the cards and to make sure that they don't fall out. But Il Melanghello usually comes with a box like this. And so I'm going to show you what these cards look like. And they're super old looking, and as you can see, they laminated them. This is what the back of the card looks like. This is what the front of the card looks like. Corners here are a little bit sharp, so you have to be careful when you work with them, but they're super robust and nothing happens to them. And so I've worked with this deck many times. It's a very special deck for me. I've enjoyed it throughout the years. The paper is absolutely wonderful, and the images are really old looking and historic looking. And this is just one of those decks that I've super enjoyed and I'm very attached to, because this deck has been through so much with me. Not only have I used it to do readings on myself many times, and this was just one of my first decks, so I'm very emotionally attached to this deck and very thankful for it, because it really has been with me throughout my journey. Once again, this is an Il Melanghello deck, and I don't know that they still have it, you guys. Il Melanghello goes through phases, and then they will publish some of them. They'll do a number of publications, and then they won't make them anymore. So I go to their website frequently because I have a whole collection of just Il Melanghello, and I've also published it on my channel. So if you are a historical deck fan, or you love Il Melengello. And for those of you that don't know, is a tarot card based in Milan, Italy. And they have been creating cards for a long time. And so most of their card decks are historical decks, and they do numbered editions of their decks. They're not super expensive. They're very affordable, actually, for the type of quality that they do. And they're just one of those printing houses that we in the tarot community are so happy to have and still have around, because they do cards the way that they've been doing them for generations. And so Il Melengello, based in Milano, Italy, old looking cards, historical cards most of the times, museum cards is what they reproduce. So let's move forward with our Marseille collection. This made it to deck number 3, and let's move to deck number 2. Deck number 2, you guys. This is a Tarocchi Piemontesi Stefano Vergano 1830. So these decks, you guys, are very much the same, not the same, but sort of in the same class as Il Melengello, which I just showed you. And this house is also in Italy, and they make absolutely beautiful decks. This one is by Giordano Berti, and Giordano Berti makes beautiful decks. You can go to his own website. He has his own website. He's based in Italy, as I just mentioned. I will link his website to the page, to the description, so you can go and take a look at some of the wonderful things that he does. I buy my decks directly with him. He ships his decks directly from Italy, and I just cannot be more pleased with this one. In particular came with a little box like this, which sort of resembles a book, as you can see. Totally cute. And in here it just gives you some of his other decks that he does, and I just love. And there's so many other decks that he does that I just would love to get, but they're expensive, and so I'm sort of doing it slowly. I do have many of his decks, but this one is the one that I wanted to show you today, because this made it to number 2 for the Marseille Tarot decks. Now, this made it to number 2 because this is almost a perfect deck, you guys. Card quality is absolutely amazing. Printing is amazing. The drawings and the colors are really to my satisfaction. And I cannot say anything wrong about this deck. Really, I love everything about it. These are pip cards, of course, like all of the Marseille decks, but nevertheless, I just love this deck. Now, the corners are very sharp, so you need to be careful when you work with this deck. When it comes to size, these decks are usually smaller than regular size. It is a little bit wider than a regular card, but it is shorter than a regular card. So as you can see, and the paper quality is just really good, very robust. This is not cheap paper. It sort of feels like a little bit, it's not mate, but it's not, yeah, actually it is a mate. Really beautiful deck. If you are into historical decks, this is maybe one of the decks that you may want to get. This is the Cartomancy with Tarot of the Marseille, and just beautiful Vergano Tarot, edited by Giordi. Beautiful decks. And just like we are so happy to have Giordano out there still making these sort of decks, because this is really a blessing to the tarot community as well. This is what I call just thank you, Giordano, for making such beautiful decks still out there. And you guys, that is deck number 2. Let's move into deck number 1. Deck number 1, you guys, the Marseille Tarot, the professional edition by Loscar. You guys, this deck is amazing, really. I am a sucker for big cards, and this is one of the reasons why this deck made it to number 1. I've shown you some other really beautiful decks, so it was kind of hard to come to a number 1. But of course, I have to choose a number 1, and this made it to the number 1 for my Marseille collection. It comes with a box like this. I love the color of this box to start with. I love this bright red, and it's really well made. This is a hardcover box. It breaks into 2 pieces, as you can see. You guys, in case you haven't noticed, these are huge cards. I'm going to show you how big ones these are. So if we compare it to a regular size card, look at this. It's just huge. And I love big cards. And so that's one of the reasons why this one made to #1. Also, the quality of the work and the paper and everything is just amazing. So I'm going to show you all of that. It comes with a book like this. This book looks impressive, but it's really not in the end. It just gives you basic information. It comes in different languages, and that is what mostly they're books from Los Scarabeo. That's how they mostly come, with different languages, but not very useful, I have to say. But the cards are beautiful. They're not gilded. This is the back of the card. They are reversible. And for somebody like me that is getting just into the Marseille and that is starting to learn more and more, this is a perfect deck to do so, because it is huge. I really am a true believer. If we are starting with tarot, or if there's anybody out there that's watching this and is just starting with tarot, having a large deck like this makes a huge difference. This is not an inexpensive deck. It's not super expensive. It's sort of in the middle of the road. And it's absolutely perfect for learning, perfect for contemplation. You guys, I have several of these large decks, and what I do is I take them out and I will study that card of the day. I have little wooden things like this where I place the card and I leave it standing on my desk the whole day so that I can learn and study that card in detail. And so let me show you what this deck looks like. I love the printing on this deck. I love how clear it is and how concise it is. I cannot say enough about this deck. And so look at these images. Look at how clear it is. The paper stock is really wonderful. It is thick. It is robust. It is sturdy. It is just really quality. So if you're looking to learn the Marseille, if you're looking to examine the Marseille in detail and to know what these cards have to say, this is really the deck that you're going to want to get. Now, if you're looking to do readings with this deck once in a while, not for others, but I do it for myself. I got this deck directly with Los Scarabeo, where I am located. They're able to ship. Now, I know that for different countries in the world, it depends where you are. They will ship, maybe they won't ship, but I have seen this deck as well on Amazon. So if you want to try them, I think you can get it through them as well, or maybe your local bookstores. It's always really nice to support the local bookstores. If you have them around, you don't have to order online. I have a friend that only goes to the store. He says to me, no, we have to really support the stores, because if we keep buying everything online, the stores are going to disappear. And I guess that is a mentality, and he has something, there is something true about that. So I do, whenever I can, support either the creators of the decks directly online, or I can go to my local store. Look at that star card. I love it. You guys, if you've liked the content, if you've liked this video, please subscribe to the channel. Let me know what your thoughts are. I love to hear from you guys. Write in the comments. Let me know if you like this, if you have any of these decks. What do you think about these decks? What are some of your favorite Le Marseille decks? Let me know. I'm so interested to hear all about it. And as I always say, you guys, thank you for watching, and until the next time.